Steg G coming live from Sonny G. We're here as part of the Hang event and we're going to show you a few techniques. To me, DJing is hip hop. DJing is the first hip hop instrument there ever was. Hip hop came through DJing, through the birth of DJs like Herc, Flash and Bambaataa, finding two copies of the illest, most craziest, funkiest, but very, very transient slices of music and creating the first ever sampler, creating the first ever drum machines, creating the first ever scratching and mixing techniques, which became the first ever and probably the only original hip hop instrument. So, dead proud of how that's evolved into whole culture, DJing. Also proud of how it's helped my life evolve to where it is as well. And I'm looking forward to showing a wee few tricks today. I've got a lot of influences when it comes to DJing. I'm really inspired by the legend, everyone knows him, Jazzy Jeff. People know him from the TV programme. I know him because he's one of the greatest DJs on planet Earth. In terms of skills, top notch. In terms of curation and selection, top notch. In terms of just the ability to rock a party and pick the right songs, top notch. So yeah, I'm going to say Jazzy Jeff, and I'll probably just leave it there because yeah, he's a pinnacle for me. I remember getting an old hi-fi years and years ago. It was my mum and dad's hi-fi, and I worked out if you switched off the line to the phono switch and you moved the record back and forth at the same time, you were getting this sort of cutting effect. And I managed to copy the same scratch that the Beastie Boys done in one of their first albums. It's a dead basic scratch, but I went looking at me, and I was chuffed. And at that point I felt I was making music and I sounded like I was making hip hop. So that was a pivotal moment for me, just to get in an old hi-fi and break some needles and learn the hard way and down some records as well. Today I've got a traditional hip hop turntable setup, although this is a state-of-the-art hip hop turntable setup, a kind of hybrid product of both digital and analog. But really we've got turntable A, turntable B. In the middle we've got a mixer where we control the volumes, we control the effects, we control what deck is doing what. And this allows us to create our own music, to create our own backtracks, to create places for MCs to spit, for breakdancers to do their thing. It's pretty exciting. First tip is do it, get involved. The hip hop community is brilliant. You may think that it's a place where you can't go, you need to wear a funny hat, talk a certain way or look a certain way. It's not like that at all. Hip hop community is dead open-minded and dead friendly, so get yourself to an event when they come back and be part of it. That's the first thing. Second thing is get involved in being part of hip hop, whether that's rapping, dancing, graffiti or anything to do with the culture. Get involved. That's part of what makes hip hop great, as an art form that people can actually do and access and express themselves within. So my thing for everyone is to do it, and I get dead excited about the new people coming up, because that keeps me on my toes and keeps me inspired with their energy as well. So the more that new people get in the door, the more of that energy as well.
What's good? I'm DIJA. I've been DJing for 6 years. I'm really influenced by grime and hip hop, and a lot of the genres that I play are kind of sub-genres from them. When you start DJing, you learn about all these different genres once you get into it. So a lot of like female rap, Jersey club, both of them merged together is like my optimum tunes to play. So I technically started DJing longer than 6 years ago. I used to always play music in my old work, and a guy that I worked with had like ties with like a bar, and he offered me to play some tunes in the 13th Note in this little low-key kind of like bar restaurant place. So I was kind of nervous, but I just used a software on my laptop. I didn't have like a controller or CDJs. It was just about like the selection of tunes that I was playing. So like I just made a playlist together and played them out to the bar, and I just got paid in pints, and it was just like a cushy setup. So, and then I bought my boyfriend at the time a controller, and obviously wanted to have a shot of it as well, so I would just like have shots of it and we'd just like play it together or whatever. And I realised how fun it was. It was so much fun, and obviously I wanted to be better at it than he was because I'm competitive. So I would just practice all the time. And then before I knew it, I had a gig at Broadcast at a club night called Peach. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's basically for women, by women, run by women, for women, female lineups, female artists making the posters, prioritised female night. So that worked perfectly for me and the kind of tunes that I play and just like my whole ethos. So played that, and that was on a controller. So my first couple of gigs, it was on the controller, and I would take it with me to the nights and like set it up and then play on that. And then I started going to Pirate Studios like every other day, and in Pirate Studios they have CDJs, so that's how I learned how to use CDJs. Me and like 6 of my friends would be there every couple of days just doing rounds back to back to back to back to back all night, and that's how I learned how to use these, which is like a super important skill because these are like industry standard and they're also really useful and can do so many different things, so it's a bit more fun than using a controller anyway. They're just more like powerful. So the way that I find my music is mostly through being on mailing lists for new releases. So any producers that I like, any DJs even that like share their own playlists or share their set lists from their sets. You can find your music on SoundCloud. I use Bandcamp a lot. They're really good to the artists as well, so that's pretty important. You obviously want to support the industry. So yeah, I'll use that and just be in my emails, just checking all the new music. But I mean, there's no pressure to only play new music. Personally, I don't think. I think like if you've got tunes that you love that are like really old or you've just found and they're like 8 years old, but if it's a tune, it's a tune, and if it'll go off, it'll go off. So you mix and match, but obviously new music is fun because nobody's got it. Some producers will send you dubs that like nobody else has, and that's always exciting. So I'll basically use that, and a lot of my influences, a lot of the stuff I play is by females, not exclusively, and it's not super intentional, it's just that I'm almost like naturally gravitate towards female producers and female rappers. I guess maybe I can just relate to it more. So like my favourite producer is called Unique, and she is from Jersey, and she raps and sings on her own tracks that she produces. So she's like an all-encompassing, amazing, talented person, and she raps and sings on like Jersey club beats, which is like a fast kind of like high energy club music. So I love her, and I love TT the artist as well, who's also very multifaceted. Like she's made her own films, she produces, she sings, she raps. Like these women are just like amazing and so inspiring for me as like a kind of like DJ and producer soon, hopefully. Just started producing, but soon to be a producer. And yeah, obviously when I started, I really got into music through like grime culture and like the grime scene in Glasgow. It was like I'd been to all these techno nights because Glasgow's full of techno, and like I liked the fast BPM, I liked that energy, but like grime was just more relatable, like the vocals and like I guess the energy in the room was just more relatable to me. So I found grime music and I found a community, and everybody there was super supportive, and they would like book me for all the nights as well, for like all the grime nights. It was a very like supportive community. So I think like grime wise, I really love Novelist. He's probably like my favourite MC, but like Scottish MCs as well, like Chrissy Grimes and 2T, and like they're amazing, and Bems, he's sick. We've got a lot of like good talent in Scotland, so it's nice when everybody like pitches in together and works together. I think that's how it like makes things go further. I've been being told to produce for like the last 6 years, everybody tells me, and I've not done it. So I've just started trying to produce. I wouldn't call myself a producer yet, but I'm trying to produce. I downloaded Fruity Loops, which is like a pretty common software that you've probably heard of already. Quite a lot of producers use it, quite a lot of good producers use it. There's also Ableton as well, which is really good. But I've started on Fruity Loops because I'm just a baby beginner. But yeah, I think I want to just like make a really fun kind of like club sound. So I've had to like just listen to a lot of music, kind of like take tips from tunes and see how they're doing it, and then almost like just like take inspiration from, don't like imitate, but take inspiration from all your favourite kind of places. But then you also want to make it your own thing. So I've used some like Arabic samples from like pop music, like Arabic pop music, just to kind of put a bit of my own personality into it, and just a lot of bass, because I really like bass. Anything with bass for me is good. But yeah, I'm just at the beginnings of that. So if you just watch some like YouTube tutorials, also like talk to your friends if you have any friends that are producers. I've had a lot of like good advice from like my friends that are producers, and a lot of help, and like, you know, they'll want to talk to you and they'll want to help you. If advice wise for getting into DJing, I would say to find a community, a supportive community, a musical community if you can, because I think in that environment you'll really thrive if everybody's supporting each other. If not, the thing is, you need to have the technical skills, so practice is the main thing. Like, I could show you how to DJ all day, but if you don't go and practice it like a lot, it's not gonna work. So just the hours that you put in are actually super important, and nobody just like jumps up and is an amazing DJ. Like, it does take like lots and lots of time, like years of just like practice, and that's not just about having your technical skills, it's also about building confidence on the decks, because you can know how to mix and still be so nervous that you can't mix properly when you're playing around people or to a crowd. So both of those things go hand in hand. Just spend your time practicing is the main thing. I'm just going to show you around the CDJs now. These are electric turntables, and it is what you would be using if you were playing a set pretty much in any venue or private studios. So the first thing you'll need is your USB, and you'll just pop that into the USB port there. If you download from Bandcamp, you will be able to choose what format you want the tune to be, and if you're playing on CDJs, if you're playing on big speakers, you want it to be a WAV, because that's a really good quality sound structure. So it's all WAVs that I've got. MP3, the quality isn't very great. I personally wouldn't play MP3 out on big speakers. You could maybe get away with it, but like, I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, there's WAVs, but there's also a software called Rekordbox, which I put all my music through, because the CDJ will read the BPM of your track that you're putting in, but it's not always right, and also it can take like too long for it to come up, because it works kind of slowly. So if I put my tune on and I hadn't put this through Rekordbox, it would play maybe like a minute of the song, and then I would have the BPM. So obviously if you're on your toes playing a set, and like me, you've not made a track list because you prefer to play kind of like freestyling, you don't really have a whole minute spare to like, because you're trying to find your next tune and you want to make sure that it matches correctly, stuff like that. So if you put it through Rekordbox, it's a really, really helpful free software that you can get. Put all your tunes through that, and then you'll have all your BPMs there, and you know they're right, and you can even see the BPMs before you play the tunes on your laptop. So I'd definitely recommend Rekordbox. And then after that, you're going to click the button on the left hand side of the screen that says USB. Pretty easy stuff. And then you've got the wee knob here to go down to pick a playlist or a tune. All your tracks will load up. So I'll pick a song. So once you've picked your song, the BPM will show up, and then you've got your pitch fader here, which, say I wanted to play, I like playing 130 or 135, you'll have your own BPM that you're kind of used to. I'm going to put this to 130, just right there. And then you've got your cue button, and you've got your play button. So the cue is going to start the song. If you set a cue, like that, that's going to, oh, let's see. So every time I press that button, it's going to go back to that part of the song. And then you've got your play button, but the cue button's good for counting in, and then play. Then you're playing your tune, so you can hear that. And then you've got your channel, which is like, you'll know which channel you're on. So we're playing through these two channels. This mixer has 4 channels in total. We're playing on these 2 channels. The way to know what channel you're playing through, if you press this cue button here, I can hear that in my headphones. on that channel. So I can hear what this deck is playing through this channel, through my headphones. And then you can just essentially bring the volume up on that deck. And then if you want to have a little bit of fun, we've got our little effects space over here, filter. Or you can do a dub echo. Let it drop. You've got your lows, mids and highs. You can mess about with them. You want to bring the bass down, the lyrics up. It's up to you. Obviously, there isn't actually any like correct answers when it comes to using the effects. Like, it's all about your creative choice and how you want it to sound. But some of them will make quite like intense changes to the sound. So I guess just like use them in moderation would be my only advice. But that's like the basics. You've got a crossfader here as well. I'd usually just keep that centered and use your volumes here. I definitely recommend utilising Pirate Studios. That's where I learned how to do it, and it's about a tenner an hour. So if you go, again, if you've got a community and you go with a couple of your pals that are into it as well, you're talking like a $5 each for a few hours. Like, it's the best way, and they've got the state-of-the-art equipment that you need to learn on.
Let's do it, man. I'm going to show you some shit on the turntables. I don't know if I can swear, but I can beep that out, nail if I can swear. Let's do some mixing, some beat juggling, some transforming, some scratching. Let's show you some of the hip hop classics and some of the classic breaks as well. Let's do it, man. Okay, so let's flip it. See if you know this. Jazz funk. Spot this break, you know your hip hop. Let's bring in the beat. Let's bring in the beat.
Of rap, but fake niggas don't make it back. I don't know how to start this shit. Rappers are monkey flipping with the funky rhythm. I be kicking, musician, inflicting composition of pain. I'm like Scarface, sniffing cocaine, holding the M16. See with the pen, I'm extreme. Now, bullet holes left in my peak holes. I'm suited up with street clothes. Hand me a 9 and out the beat foes. Y'all know my stilo, with or without the airplay. I keep sitting bent up in the stairway, or either on the corner betting grants with the CeeLo champs, laughing at bass heads, trying to sell some road, sell some road. scientist extra P, about to set up shop and drop this next degree on the masses. Here's the live guy with glasses of flushing, known for programming of percussion, bass lines, etc. Check me out and I'll bet you the one that claims he's the best can't catch ya. Beat like I catch it 'cause it's downright wretched. Put it through the S9 and S9, stretch it, stretch it.
Breaking down these classics here.
Yeah.
Look at it moving. Take it to the 70s.
Yo.
Slide the family stone. This break of the hip hop legends. Party starting.
The drummer get wicked.
Back to the classics.
Take the cake, but you can't get a crumb from the poetic, authentic, superior, ultimate, and all that good shit.
Back to the classics. Bob James Mardi Gras, 1971. And the hip hop classic, let's go. And that's it, a little demonstration, some of the hip hop techniques, juggling, some classics, some breaks.
made my day. Goddamn that DJ, goddamn that DJ, goddamn that DJ made my day.
Just want to say thanks everyone for checking out the Hang performances, the conferences and myself today. There's been a lot of great stuff before me, a lot of great stuff still to come, so make sure you stick about for that. I've been Steg G, broadcasting live to Sonny G. Big shout to the whole Hang team. Look out for that Hip Hop Bursary as well. It's a great chance for you to get your hands on a little bit of cash to make them moves. So let's make them moves, people.
Ready?
Yep.
Cool.
old tree. I'ma make him wait for the pussy. Hit it in these big old ski. Feet on the bed. I'll fuck him up in the head. Suck it, then look in his eyes. Then the next day I might leave him on red. Pop it, daydreaming about how I rock it. He hit my phone with a horse, so I know he can come over and ride it. I'm on the way, ride on that dick, I'm like, hey, usually I like to fuck.
Now, Dad, you gotta spank that ass.
Big old freak. Big old freak. Big old freak. Big old freak.
Hold on to the broke shot, me and the beat of a top. Only a killer, me never stop. Any boy this me a gun shot a pop. After that boy I go no 1 o'clock. When uno mama fi run out of frock, and uno papa fi run out of shop, uno brother fi run out of flat. Don't me tell them about 9 o'clock. When you and your friend them can't find no crap. Me have a brand new machine and it just remap. Big up the shots and them we know about that. There ain't nobody that can hold me back. I'm the wickedest you will not hear pan shot. Don't know so I'm the hot topic. Only a killer to stop it. Anytime I put out my killing time CD, boy better go online and cop it. She in love with my aura. Tryna block this half a corner, but Joe's tryna call me for a quick order. In the ends, ain't nothing but order. Turn your margin straight to a mooner. Water, wet splash, something got border. I just spent 3 weeks in the tea house, now I'm uptown doing nothing but trip. See, I piss if I burn this trip. If I see me up, it ain't nothing but fish. This music has to go quick. I'm tryna take care of my mummy and mix. I'm outside, I'm taking a risk. Hands on the track, I'm taking a piss. I just bashed up Bush 0.9 on the curb on my life, man's making a flip. UG1 from Hammersmith on me, says she wanna make me a kid. Are you taking a piss? Man's hitting it once and I'm making a skid. I just backed my dick on Inco's grave and now I'm out taking a piss. Jumped on my bed, put my feet in Gucci. Backstrap this doobie. Got a little fetish for backs, I'm mad. Brown skin one with a booty. Still try to ying them pagans, do that shit like it's my duty. Brown skin one, she a cutie, but I told bro don't love these groupies. Man's just letting it hit like hi-hats. Back, your mash and fly that. If feds don't come to the trap, like, yo, tell them and hide that. Gang like he won't ride that. But I'm stuck in the tea with a white and beano, still trying to hide that. Any whack on sell my fly that. Man's just letting it hit like hi-hats. Back, your mash and fly that. If feds don't come to the trap, like, yo, tell them and hide that. Gang like he won't ride that. But I'm stuck in the tea with a white and beano, still trying to hide that. Any whack on sell my fly that. Yo, one beef with the twos, come try that. I just chopped up a 4.5, man. OT settings, my fly that. Hoodie and gloves, my black hair ones that step on the beat, I don't mind that. My flip more keys than an iPad. Oh, I'm the vendor, my block like a right back. My flow on the beat like the ocean. Splash man down, have a swimming all floating. I just saw me a hot down the man thing. Hopped out the whip while the whip's in motion. Man, you know that the gang loading. Matter of time to us, man, loading. I ain't really fuss about the driver. The passenger sit when he's doing the approach.
So if you're the traffic, that's left, right. Say you gang, can you say that with your chest, right? You'll fucking with it off before you left, right? You can stand me in the back for the best price. So if you're the traffic, that's left, right. Say you gang, can you say that with your chest, right? You'll fucking with it off before you left, right? You can stand me in the back for the best price. So if you're the traffic, that's left, right. Say you gang, can you say that with your chest, right? You'll fucking with it off before you left, right? You can stand me in the back for the best price. I'm on the street sometimes, I get like it. And you gonna let the lifestyle excite you. They say you get out when you get fried. That's why it's on the ball, on the right. So if you're the traffic, that's left, right. Say you gang, can you say that with your chest, right? You'll fucking with the odds before you met, right? You can stand me in the back for the best price. So if you're the traffic, that's left, right. Say you gang, can you say that with your chest, right? You'll fucking with the odds before you met, right? You can stand me in the back for the best price. So if you're the traffic, that's left, right. Say you gang, can you say that with your chest, right? You'll fucking with the odds before you met, right? You can stand me in the back for the best price. I'm on the street sometimes, I get like you. And you gon' let the lifestyle excite you. They say you get out when you get fried. That's why it's on the ball, on the right. chasing all the paper time set, I. And if it into my respect, I. Keep it real, nothing more, nothing less, I. Know what it feel like to be betrayed by a friend, I. They chasing all the paper time set, I. And if it into my respect, I. Keep it real, nothing more, nothing less, I. Know what it feel like to be betrayed by a friend, I. Can trust, no. I can love, no. The head by the kids is our most they think I see uncle. They can trust, no. I can love, no. The head by the kids is our most they think I see.
Boom!